Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at these three figures right here from the DC Comics Unlimited line from the mid-2010s. We've got Batman, Superman, and Darkseid. Now, technically, the Batman is from his own subline, Batman Unlimited, but it's really all the same thing. These are all kind of spin-offs from the DC Universe Classics line. They're all, well, at least the Batman and the Superman are using DC Universe Classics molds with some new paint apps and things like that. And we're going to take a look at them and ask the question, in 2024, are these figures still worth it? All right, so here we have them all out of the package, ready to go ahead and take a look at them. Now, none of them come with accessories, so we'll just kind of start with Superman here, take a look at him. And I do love the kind of metallic sheen to the blue there. I think it looks great. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the New 52 look for him. Is this New 52 or Rebirth? I can't even remember anymore at this point. But this look where he's kind of got the higher collar there on his suit and no trunks. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I'm just a huge fan of Superman, so I like having all the different versions of him. And I like that metallic sheen there. He's even got the nice kind of metallic sheen a little bit there on the boots and on the belt. Kind of got a matte finish there on the cape. We've got the black logo at the back. I think the face sculpt looks good. I'm not digging the hair, though. And I know that's kind of the style of that mid-2000s era Superman in this costume, but I prefer the traditional style hair, although he does have some nice kind of blue highlights there in the hair, which I think do look good. And again, this is basic, DC UC stuff, right? Like, you've got the standard articulation. All of these do with the single jointed elbows and knees, standard hinges at the feet. Swivel there on the wrist, ball joints here at the shoulders, heads on a ball joint, ab crunch, bicep swivels, thigh swivels down here, and that kind of T-style DCUC hip thing that they have going on there. So it's basic stuff. You guys all know it. We know this articulations layout here. So pretty basic stuff there. Overall, a solid Superman entry. Now we get to Batman here. And I think the Batman looks great as far as the sculpt looks amazing. I think the paint's well done. And I love the metallic on the gray. However, the only thing I don't like about this figure, to be honest, is just how all the black, not necessarily on the boots and gloves, but on the cape and cowl, like, it looks like he's wearing latex. I mean, which just makes me think he's into S&M, right? Like, that's what I think of when I got this. Now, this is just a redeco of a DC UC sculpt, which is a great figure as well. And I do like the figure. I like everything except for just that really, really bright shine that he's got on the cape and cowl, because it looks like he's into some kinky stuff there, man. But other than that, the figure's great. I like it. I'm glad I've got it, but that is a bright, shiny, kinky-looking cape he's got there. Then, of course, we get to Darkseid here, and Darkseid is the best of these three by far. The paint on this thing is just perfect and immaculate. The sculpting on this is great. Now, of course, this was this was pulled from a sculpt that Four Horsemen did for the Motu Classics line. I can't remember which character it was, but they, redecoed it and redid the head and added a few touches here and there to get Darkseid here. And I think it just works beautifully. Look at the gold paint on there, the red, the blues. I love the details here, kind of the rocky granite look to the shoulder pads. Face sculpt looks fantastic. And again, articulation is all standard DC UC, or in this case, Motu Classics stuff. So, really, really, really nice figure. This is, again, by far the best of the three, hands down. The only thing I'm not a big fan of on him is he's just not big enough. Darkseid should tower over Superman and Batman. And while he's a little bit bigger than them, he's not as big as I would want him to be, but the sculpt and paint looks so gorgeous on this thing. I don't mind, to be honest with you guys. I don't mind. I think it looks absolutely amazing. So now we get into the question of how do these guys stack up to other figures in your collection, and that's why I brought out a couple other figures here. So first we'll take a look at a McFarlane 7-inch scale. Now this one's a custom, but he's pretty much the same size as he always was. This is that new kind of classic Superman that I customized with some various things that you can see that video on YouTube. As you can see, he's 7-inch scale, so he towers over all of them. Even Darkseid, who is the biggest of the three, he still towers over him because we're talking completely different scales. scales. These are all on average 6.5-inch scale figures. This guy is over 7 inches tall, so of course these things don't work scale-wise with McFarlane stuff. And then of course Marvel Legends. Now Marvel Legends works perfectly because they are all 6.5-inch scale figures. And so, you know, when we want to have Batman fighting Spider-Man, you certainly can do that. And I think it works really, really well. But now we get to the final question, of course, which is it still worth picking these guys up in 2024? Now, that's obviously a personal question. You have to ask yourself that. Do you even care about these figures? I do. I am, as I've said in many videos, you know, I've started purging my McFarlane collection and building up my 6-inch scale DC stuff, whether that be DC UC, DC Unlimited, DC Signature, DC Direct. That 6 to 6.5-inch scale is what I prefer, and so that's what I've been building up over the last year or so, is building that collection to where I want it to be. So, you know, obviously this is something I like, but let me go over the price here of what I paid for these guys. So the Superman was $17, found him on eBay, found all of these on eBay. Darkseid I picked up for $25, and Batman there I picked up for $12. At that price, these are all definitely worth it. It is a no-brainer that these figures are still worth it if this is the type of collection you want to build. If, when it comes to DC, you're okay with 6 to 6.5-inch scale, these are absolutely still worth it. And the reason that I make these videos on these older figures is because of the fact that I know a lot of people would love to have these, but they think, and I understand it, that you're going to spend a lot of money getting figures that are no longer in production. And the fact of the matter is you're not. In fact, a lot of times, most of the time, in almost every single case, to be honest with you guys, in the last year as I've been building my, 6 to 6.5-inch scale DC collection, I'm paying less per figure than I would be if I was buying those figures directly from, retail, and it was McFarlane DC Multiverse stuff. Most of the time, I'm paying under $20 per figure. This Darkseid here is kind of a rarity in that I'm paying, $25, which is the same that I would pay for one of those figures. So, yes, guys, I think it's absolutely worth it. These are still great-looking figures, a lot of fun. They're going to add a lot to your collection if you like this scale, and I 100% think that they are worth it, and you'll definitely be happy if you pick these guys up. So that is it, guys. Thank you for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Would love to hear what you think about these particular figures or just this scale in general for DC stuff compared to what McFarlane is doing. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about that stuff. But as always, guys, always remember to enjoy your collection.